Hey!
The Sultan of SWAT. The Sultan of SWAT. What was his name? The Sandlot? Was it Repeat? No, what was his name?
It's Pete and Repeat?
Pete and Repeat were in a boat. Pete fell off. Who was left?
Yeah, go fuck yourself. That's who was left.
No, you're wrong. It was Repeat. Pete and Pete were in a boat. The Sand Lot.
The sand in my pants.
It's also not
the Justin Strandler
I
story.
wrote the sand log, and that's not. That's just that's poop after the beach.
Oh man, we should catalog that for year 5.
Twitch, help us remember that's the sand log is poop.
Poop after the beach.
Squints.
This is gonna be worth it. I can't wait.
Alan, yeah. Tommy Repeat Timmons.
Tommy Repeat Timmons.
Tommy Repeat Timmons and Timmy Timmons.
There we go.
Tommy and Timmy.
Tommy and Timmy.
Tommy Repeat Timmons. Wait a second. Are you fucking telling me that your fucking brother's Tommy Repeat Timmons?
Yeah, I'm telling you, your fucking brother's Tommy Repeat Timmons.
Wait a second. Are you fucking Tommy Repeat Timmons?
I'm not Tommy fucking Repeat Timmons.
But your brother is.
But my brother is.
So you're Timmy Timmons.
I'm Timmy Timmons. My brother is Tommy Repeat Timmons.
You lost your fucking accent, pa.
Oh, well, I do say I don't know what you're talking about.
Perfect Boston accent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Spill my tea, you fucking twat.
Oh, everything. Everything's amazing.
Everything is amazing. Can't say that other word, otherwise you have to pay royalties.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Girl, please.
Many things are awesome. See, I didn't say it.
Things are pretty good, depending on the day and the time of the week. Many things are okay in Minnesota.
That's the new, like Michigan has pure Michigan. That's Minnesota's.
It's like everything's pretty okay in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
In Minnesota. How crazy is that to think of tourism for a state? I guess it's not as crazy when you're like, if you're like, California's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But if you're the Idahos of the world, come check out Idaho.
What do you, hold on, hold on. U.S. states.
Tell me more.
Just because I can't think of all of them.
All the states.
So I need an image because I work off picture books because I'm a dum-dum. All right, so
like, how would you pitch some of these?
Idaho. Let's.
Which state
Are
do
we
you think
doing?
is?
Are we doing songs for them or like jingles?
Even you have to see an ad for it, and there's what's the tagline for coming to a state? And I think which state do you think is the hardest one to do?
The state that's the hardest one to do, honestly, I think would be either Arkansas or Mississippi.
I think it's got to be Nebraska.
Oh, dude, no, easy.
What?
Toto lived here.
That's Kansas?
All right, well, I don't know. Man.
Oh, I give up then. You're right.
Oh, that's right. I don't know. You think Nebraska, huh?
Yeah, man. They're known for 2 main cities, Omaha, and the other one I can't think of. I know this because
one main
when
city.
we worked at assignment desk and we had anything in Nebraska, we were always like, fuck. Because if it wasn't near Omaha or the other one, and the people that the folks that we used there they charged out the ass because they were like the only people in Nebraska. And it was basically these cities were relatively close to one another.
Is it Lincoln, Nebraska?
That's it.
All right. Or is it Bellevue?
I don't think it's Bellevue.
How about La Vista?
Nope.
Was it Seward?
There it is.
Or
Seward in Nebraska, that's a landlocked state. That's just a lie.
How about Sydney?
Nope. Oh, yeah. That's what it was.
Was it Aurora?
Mm-hmm. It was all of those.
Was it Kozad? Or Kozad?
It's Kozad.
How about Broken Bow? Or O'Neill? That's where all the Irish people in Nebraska live. Where are you from? I'm from Nebraska. Oh, you don't say?
Bullshit.
Where? Oh, no, I live in O'Neill.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, the Australian people live in Sydney.
Right. My name's Connor Seamus of the O'Neill, Nebraska Seamuses. Shamai. How about Red Cloud? Red Cloud is a town of 1,010 people.
There you go.
Red Cloud, Nebraska. The next screenplay that I write is going to be based in Red Cloud, Nebraska.
And it's someone who's working to drive tourism to that city and to that state, and their tagline is
Nebraska. We've got Omaha.
I don't know what do you do
For Nebraska?
I don't know what you do.
Well, here, let's do this. Let's just see what is Nebraska's biggest export.
Corn. And that they're the Cornhuskers. That's what they're known
so
for is corn.
sorry. So Nebraska, fuck Iowa. We have the corn. I think that fits in a quarter.
It does.
Yeah.
We have the corn.
Wait, is Iowa or is Iowa or Indiana more corn based?
I think Iowa.
Yeah.
Indiana's more KKK based.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah. Then I would say Nebraska, fuck Iowa. We got the corn. And then you could go into we got the corn. We got the corn. Fuck Iowa. We got the corn. Yeah, see? It works. That's your jingle.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. After the national anthem, you then do the Nebraska chant.
It's called the Nebraska Shuffle.
Yeah. Nebraska Shuffle. We got the corn. We got the corn.
Fuck Iowa. We got the corn. Nebraska.
I don't know why we're all of a sudden doing that song, but we are.
I want to see what is its a population, rank, density.
And if you're from Nebraska and you're listening, congratulations.
Yes, you've survived this long.
You've done it.
What is its major export?
Oh my God, Justin.
It's got to be corn.
It has to be corn.
It's got all three branches of government, though.
I'm glad. It should.
So there's that. So Jared says that
I can't wait for Jared to weigh on this.
Jared said there was a mock tagline for the Northern Territory in Australia. Mm-hmm. So the Northern Territory is abbreviated NT. So it's CU in the NT. CU, the letter C and U.
Gotcha.
For those who are listening and not watching.
Gotcha.
CU in the NT, which spells what?
That's
cunt. It spells
can't.
Cunt.
Don't rush me.
Water Speech says Nebraska is just corn. And then he also said Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm playing catch up. They answered these for us.
These guys were all over it. Thank you.
And they wrote it so it looked like it was one word. And then, yeah. Oh, what's up, Snot Rag? Street corn. He says street corn.
Followed by dot.
No dots. Just
Street corn.
Street corn. Yes. Hey, Piper Pilot said, what a great place to join. Yes. Sorry. Yes. We're just going.
As he says the C word. That's
right,
amazing.
Exactly.
Hey,
yeah.
welcome. Bam.
Well, welcome. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
so I argue Nebraska would be the hardest.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. Nebraska is a tough one. I can come up with nothing for it.
Because I feel like with Mississippi and
besides,
Arkansas,
we got the corn.
I mean, Mississippi, I'd say it's got some history, and it does, but it ain't great history.
How about, so for Mississippi's tagline, it's just, we're sorry.
Mississippi's like, hey, it's just fine down here.
Mississippi, sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to say we're getting better, but I don't think Mississippi is getting better.
Yeah. Because there's ones like Louisiana, that's pretty easy, right? You got your New Orleans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
West Virginia might be a tough one, too. Where Cole came and died.
There you go. You got it right there. Where Cole came and died. Water Speech says, what about New Hampshire? I would say New Hampshire's is, we have maple syrup, too.
We're in the East Coast. We're the lesser-known bastard child of the East Coast. Or Connecticut. Snap.
ESPN lives here.
As does WWE.
There you go. Connecticut's got that's a twofer right there. It's what that is.
Goddamn right.
Yeah. What else could we do here? Let's see.
Arkansas would be a tough one.
Clintons. Next.
Hashtag
what about
Clinton body count.
What about Rhode Island? If Haig was here, he would have a couple things to say about Rhode Island. None of them nice. Yeah. So, pitch me Rhode Island.
We're the nipple of America.
All right.
Right? Because they have milk.
In Rhode Island?
Yeah,
I think they have. There's not an embargo on milk, so yes.
I'm thinking
in that state they have milk.
We've heard of the Rhode Island dairy cow, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a prized cow.
What if? All right. So what if the state slogan was, "Did you blink? Turn around and drive through us again."
And that's a weird thing for me to really wrap my head around when people are like, "Yeah, man, I live in Pennsylvania, but I'd commute to, New York City."
Right.
I'm like, huh? Because I'm so used to living.
You're just like, wait a second, that's a whole nother fucking.
Like what?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Europe. It would how like, oh yeah, I just drove from Spain down to Portugal
Right.
and then hopped a quick lift over to Germany, and I'm like, what? How's that possible?
We were just talking to someone, one of the other dog walkers in the neighborhood, dog owners. She walks her dog too, but she owns it. She's going to Italy, and she's been there a few times, and she was telling us, because Beth and I are trying to figure out, like, for our 10-year, what are we going to do, and we were thinking about Italy.
You know what you have to get her.
I'll listen to last week's episode and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it leather?
It's iron.
Iron
Candy.
Iron
Me.
candy. That's right. But she was telling us the same thing. She was just like, yeah, you can, hop on a train and in 2 like it's. I think she said that Illinois is bigger than the country of Italy, or something of that to that effect. Where that blew my mind when I heard that. I have no reference for anything in Europe, so.
Yeah, I remember my sister-in-law lived in Germany for a long time, and they just really missed the ability to just hop on a train and just be in another country.
Right. They lived in Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For like 7 years.
Yeah.
And they were just hopping on trains, going to different places all the time. Super easy. Their train system over there is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's very easy, very convenient to get around and just explore. And it's like, imagine... Because you could argue that, each state in the U.S. has a little bit of a different culture, but it really drastically changes as you kind of go from coast to coast. Whereas imagine going from, like, Missouri to Kansas and they speak a different language.
Yes.
And they have a completely different culture, like maybe a different currency.
Right. And it's one of those things where it's hard for
you
as
need a
American,
passport to go there.
Right. As Americans, it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that, the equivalent of traveling state to state is what people do country to country. It's very hard to until you've been over there, and I've still yet to be over there. Unfortunately, is that it's just a whole different lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different way of. But the thing is, how fucking amazing is it that when you are in that environment, you can experience so many different cultures in such a short fucking time span.
Well, it's interesting too because I actually just I finished reading this, I guess you'd call it a comic. It's called Mouse, M-A-U-S, and it's basically it's an extremely heavily award-winning. It's won many awards for its depiction of essentially a son recounting the stories of his father who survived the Holocaust.
Okay.
And he does it in a way where anyone who is Jewish in the comic is drawn like a mouse. Nazis or Germans are drawn like cats. Polish people are drawn like pigs. Like he kind of uses animals to tell this horrific story of the stuff that his father went through. But one of the things I thought was interesting in it was when his son, because his son has basically recorded the conversation, wrote notes, and he actually like depicts himself like writing and drawing the stuff out as it happened. One of the things he noticed, he went to a therapist about it. He said he was feeling guilty and everything. And the therapist said, what's crazy about that is he's like, some good people died, some bad people survived. He goes, it was all random and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And what the son was trying to portray was that his father at an old age still carried on a lot of the characteristics of him surviving the Holocaust. He saved everything. And he was like, whatever he could do to have something in his pocket was so important because in his story, everything you had, you were able to barter with to bribe people, to do whatever you could do to survive. And one of the things that was incredibly important was the ability to speak multiple languages. Mm. In one particular situation, there was a guy who was essentially in charge of his prisoner unit in Auschwitz, and he was looking for someone who spoke different languages. And because he was able to speak Polish, German, and English, this guy specifically was looking for someone to speak English. And because he was able to do so, the guy basically gave him special treatment, gave him like extra food. Because the guy who was in charge, he wanted to learn English because he's like, the Americans will be coming by here pretty soon, and I have a feeling that knowing English will put me in advantage to basically help get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So they was bartering with that sort of stuff. So the idea of being able to speak multiple languages is not unusual.
Right.
If I'm going from Missouri to Kansas or Illinois to Indiana, and there's a different language, obviously that stuff's gonna bleed over.
Yeah.
And when people give Americans shit for like, you only know English, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's really what we speak in this giant mass of a country next to some other languages, but it's not so prevalent where it's like you cross the state line, it's like completely different languages spoken over here.
And I think that's I mean, there's a little justification for anyone who grew up in the United States of why you only speak English, because it's not nearly as necessary as when you're living in Europe. But also, I think that is to the detriment of Americans 100%. As well, too, because I'm just like, what a great, just natural thing to have happen when you grow up is like, look, you're gonna need this because a 2-hour train ride gets you to a completely different country, so you will need this skill to have, or this skill set. I am beyond jealous of those who can speak multiple languages.
I know.
I wish nothing more than, and I honestly think that there's something, my brain is wired incorrectly or something, because I just, like, when I was in high school, I took Spanish, and I took 2 years in junior high, 2 years in high school. I retained almost none of it.
Of course.
Like, I know the standard, where's the library? Right, yeah. I worked in a kitchen in college, and I learned more there, arguably, than I did in school. Mm-hmm. And then I lived with Milos for a couple years, and he tried to teach me Serbian, and that went horribly awry. I know 2 phrases, both of them are terrible.
Same.
What's that?
Say them.
Fuck, now I can't even remember. Jebem ti majku and pička te materina.
Oh, nice.
Which one of them is fuck your mother, and the other one, I can't remember what it means, but it's not good. So, it's just I wish that I was more like clued into just speaking other language, because I feel like too, when you learn one, it's almost a domino effect from what I've heard. It just gets easier to learn more because you start picking up similarities. You can start to make,
It probably depends on the type of language. Like if you do one of the romance languages, like if you, I know like Spanish and Portuguese are pretty close.
And Italian.
They're going to be different, but you're going to be able to. I remember working at the hotel, and we'd have some guests from Brazil come by, and they'd be asking questions, and I'd turn to some of our Bell guys, and they spoke Spanish, and they'd come over, and they'd be like, they talk to them when they're done. They're like, I only understood about 60%. I go, that's 60% more than I can understand. He's like, yeah, the Portuguese and Spanish, there's some differences. I'm like, I imagine that there are, but they're similar enough to be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
To be able to figure that stuff out. And it's one of those things where, it's definitely interesting, like conjugating the verbs. Like I was really, for some reason, I was like, I'm going to take French.
Yeah.
Because that applies and everything.
I'm going to use that.
But honestly,
be honest. Did you take it because you thought it would help you with the ladies?
I was like, everyone's taking Spanish. I want to do something different.
Okay.
And
so you did it to rebel.
I did it because I was just like, I don't know, man. I really wish I would have done Spanish, but
but how much French do you currently speak?
Well, here's the thing. I can read it relatively well. Let me pull that back a little bit.
Really, Doug?
For example, in the comic The Boys, one of the characters is Frenchie. And there's times where he speaks in French in the comics, and I'm able to actually understand what it is. Now, if you spoke it to me, I'd be like, what? Because especially French, it meshes. It flows together so well.
Right.
And you're kind of like, I remember doing exercises where it's like you listen to it and you have to write down what was said. I'm like, fuck. What? And then they write it out. I'm like, he didn't say that. Like the S carried over, and it's like, what? Because the rules are like, if it ends in a consonant and then the next word starts with a vowel, you drag it out. So if it's an S, it's like vous avez. It's actually VOUSAVEZ, but you say vous avez, not vous avez.
Right.
You have to let you slur it together. So if you're speaking quickly, like I imagine someone trying to listen to English and they're just speaking, you're like, whoa, that was a whole bunch of just really fluid stuff that came out of your mouth, sir. What'd you say? But I can read some of the stuff and be like, I can pick out words here and there and be like, I think I know what they're talking about.
Contextually, you can kind of put it together.
If you were to hand me a newspaper, I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But in the small uses in which I've seen them in comics and things, I've been like, oh, okay, I kind of get what they're saying. The end.
I agree.
Yeah, so I would definitely
I know none of that works for me in Spanish.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, like there are the nice thing about Spanish is that some words are real. Like again, just with context clues, you can kind of figure out what they're saying or like. I in no way, shape, or form. When I'm listening to two people have a conversation in Spanish, I can pick out like probably 3 words in a total of like a 5-minute conversation. I'm like, all right, I think I heard, biblioteca. They're going to the library. I can get that.
Yeah.
What they're doing at the library, I have no idea.
It's so funny because you talked about how you took it in school, but didn't feel like you learned much. But then on your job, you learned more. It's because there was application.
You know what? That's true. Because I heard how actual Spanish speakers spoke the language, and it was not this like they don't speak it by the rules. You don't like it's the same thing with English. Yeah. You learn the rules, but fuck the rules. Like like there's a discussion going on Twitch right now how the speed limits are suggestion. Rules are meant to be broken. We have a new person, Piper Pilot. Yeah. They said that rules are meant to be broken, and so
Piper.
That has sparked a little conversation here. But to that end, fuck the rules. When you're learning a language, that's not how the actual speakers of the language speak.
Well, it's kind of like,
there's good guidelines, but that's not how they speak.
It's like when you and I learn the rules of improv, right? You learn the rules so you can bend them.
Absolutely.
Because you need to learn the rules because you have to learn exactly. Same thing like learning the rules of the road for driving.
Right.
You need to learn how everything goes, and then you can make judgment calls on when to be like, you know what? I'm going to fucking break the rules here because I need to, and here's why. And you can, as opposed to be like, here are the keys, son. Go for it. Like, you need to be able to practice that stuff. And I think my favorite thing was in improv where it's like, all right, dum-dums, you really got to follow these rules because otherwise you suck ass.
Right.
But then you get to watch the people, because remember it was always you have to say yes and.
Right.
You can't say no.
You cannot say no.
Because when you're so new, you'll say no and you'll shut the scene down, whereas you'll watch really good improvisers say no as their character, but not no to improv, and it's hard to explain that to newcomers.
Right.
Because if your character's not always going to be like, okay, let's go murder elephants.
I think that's one of the things that made learning improv so fucking hard for me at least was we'd get into a scene and I was like, I have to say yes to everything, and I don't know where to take some of this.
Yeah, right?
So if I'm saying yes, I'm very lost. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a fine line, right? If I'm like, hey, let's go to the playground, and you go, no. Depending on how you respond to that, it could be your character saying no, or it could be like, no, we're not going to the playground.
Right.
Fuck the scene. And you're like, cool, well, we won't go.
All right, cool. So whatever. Yeah. I wanted real quick. My attention got pulled because when I said Piper Pilot was new, they responded with, yes, hello, I'm new. I saw you accidentally call Corridor Digital Collider, and I'm like, shit, I like podcasts. I'll listen to these guys, and here I am. A happy accident, as it were. I'm also a student of improv, so coincidentally, I love this shit. Welcome, dude or dudette, welcome.
Yeah,
we're
seriously.
very, very happy that you joined us here.
I'm glad that my stupid-ass mistake brought you here.
He's the one who posted
That was totally my fault.
And I'm the dumbass who posted. Okay. So what had happened? And first and foremost, a giant we're sorry to both Collider and Corridor Digital because
more to Corridor than to Collider.
Right, but I mean, we've been watching Corridor Digital and Freddie Wong and everyone they've been since at least when we were at Assignment Desk.
2012 to 2014.
Right. So since about 2012, 13, somewhere in there. We've been a fan of what these guys have been creating, and so the utmost respect for them. Doug saw the article on Collider talking about Corridor Digital's video and just assumed, Collider posted this and sent it out. Even
though I watched the video and saw Corridor on there, but I confused the two because I'm a dumbass.
So then I jumped on. I'm like, I'll jump in real quick and from the account I'll make it okay. Like I'll just say, hey, so big sorry, credit where credit's due. Just tongue in cheek because we're just having fun. And the first day was fine. Everyone was in good fun. Corridor Digital responded with Collider ? And then we put a GIF and everyone was in good fun. Then the next day, some of the cunts came out. The next day 2 after it had marinated, and then there were people calling us out for not taking it down and reposting with the proper thing. Again, it was all in. It was not meant as a fucking slight.
Well, here's the thing.
Someone was like, credit where credit was due. When you say that, it actually means this and this. And I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Well, so I was texting Doug, and I'm like, should we just fucking take it down and repost it?
I was like, look, I'm not good at Twitter, all right? The fact that Justin's like, Doug, you get to own Twitter, I'm like, this is a good challenge for me. So when I did that, and this is how stupid I am, I'm like, how do you edit tweets?
And you can't edit tweets, yeah.
You can't. And I was like, fuck, so what's the standard protocol? And I didn't know the standard protocol. So I thought we had done it. We had taken care of business when Justin's like, hey, whatever, it's this. And people are like, then fucking take it down.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
We got a couple, and we got a couple messages too, like to us that were like, oh my God, guys, like, this is really where you're drawing your line in the sand.
Be condescending. I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry, guys. Like,
this is where we're.
Tell me what to do to fix it.
Right. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and that's the thing too, because it's nothing. It's not even a fucking blip on Quarter Digital's radar. Like, this was just a fucking flash in the pan for them. For us, we're just like, God, we feel like assholes. Like, we're sorry and this and that.
I was so embarrassed.
To the people who were coming out and really coming at us hard in the DMs and the whatever, I'm just like, this is where you're planting your flag. This is the thing that you're taking the stand on.
Credit where credit's due.
With everything else going on in the country and the world right now, this is where you're taking your stand. Okay.
Yeah.
Then mea culpa, we're fucking sorry.
Yeah. I was like, whatever, dude. Just please make it stop.
Yeah.
And it made me really sad that I had notifications on for Twitter because my phone would not stop buzzing. And the worst part is when I got the message from Corridor right before I went into a meeting at work, and I saw that and they're like, Collider. And I was like, I have 4 minutes until my meeting and I don't know how to fix this. I was like, I was like, and I couldn't stop. I was in there for an hour and the whole time I'm thinking, like, how do I fix this? I don't know how to fix this Twitter thing. This is what social media did to me. I felt my phone going buzz, buzz, buzz. I was like, oh God, the world is burning around me. I was Joe, Justin, I'm sorry. It was my fault.
I didn't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
The world is burning around me.
And Justin went and I was like, he fixed it, not knowing that it wasn't good enough. So that being said, it's Pied Pilot, is that correct? It's Piper Pilot? Sorry.
Oh, now you got to apologize again.
Fuck! Hashtag credit where credit's due. Thank you for joining us. And based on that little fuck up, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
So that was entertaining.
That was it was a very
interesting 24 hours, and I was like, oh.
Well, the one thing that I had said to Doug too is I said, this is again, all things considered, this is nothing. This is a drop in the proverbial ocean of shit that is Twitter. So again, this is not. Imagine the people who get. Yeah, we got. I think it topped out at about Colliders topped out at about 500 something like likes and a couple dozen retweets or whatever. And, again, for us was like, we've never had that much traffic on Twitter. So our notification was like, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
But like I told Doug, I was like, imagine the people that have, that get, 2 million likes and like a couple 100,000 retweets and comments galore and this and that. I was like, you have to, at that point, I assume that you have to be turning your notifications off because there's no way that you can, there's no way you can live with that just constantly
I think I saw a video where someone they recorded their phone, they posted something on Instagram and set it down, and their phone just went.
It just didn't stop.
And I've seen, I've just uncovered the lost city of gold. I've seen tweets. I've seen them, guys, where you look at it and you just see the activity on it. It's just like, agree to tweet. It's like in real time. I'm like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? And I actually told Justin, because the first day, everyone was pretty chill. I'm like, imagine if this was hate.
Right.
And then sure enough.
Day
right
two.
Around the corner.
Day
I was
two.
like, fix it. I don't
like
it.
Make this stop.
I was like, I don't want to read them. Fix it. I don't want this.
I was like,
turn it off.
Have your binky. Papa's got it.
I was like, I don't want this anymore.
Papa's got it.
Take care of it, Papa Strandland.
Piper Pilot, I think you're going to have Doug's heart though, because in the chat here, and for anyone listening to this on Tuesdays, again, we live stream and we do it on Twitch and we do a chat, so you can interact with us here. So Jared had said, they've got 4 years of podcasts to listen to, so a lot of catching up. And he said, I don't backlog. I missed the ship. It's more fun to try to decipher inside jokes than get them the easy way out. And that is a man after Doug's, a man or a woman, I don't know who you are yet, but that is a person after Doug's heart, because Doug jumped into Your Mom's House podcast, which is, as far as inside jokes and references go, it is the holy grail and the the world's hardest cipher to crack. And Doug has jumped in full force and is starting to pick apart those inside jokes.
Oh my God. I went to the backlog because I was like, I want to know the genesis of this joke. And so I would
Reno.
go back.
You said, call me Reno if the name is too hard for you. Wink. I like it.
Thank you, Reno. That show is a cornucopia of, if you hop into that show, you're like, what the fuck are these drops that they're playing? And I went back probably about 150 episodes to catch up on a lot of it. And then I was like, I think that's far enough.
Right.
And then I was like, I'm caught up on everything at that point in time. But they will invade. Something will happen. They'll find somebody. They've featured their cool guy club, which is basically really creepy dudes. And they had this one guy who's just a real D-bag. Yeah. And they basically, all of a sudden, his Instagram turned private. Like, all of a sudden, because all of those, they call their fans the mommies.
Right.
They hit hard.
The mommies come to play.
And there was a bit that they did where they were, I forget what it was. There was this really local access. It was like an internet news place, and people kept emailing them saying, hey, man, hey, guys. And they would read these emails on the air. They'd be like, hey, man, you guys looking good. Hey, I like your jeans. Way to keep them high and tight. And that's like one of their inside jokes is they're talking about, they call each other mommy and jeans. And the idea is that, as your parents and stuff like that, as you get older, you wear your jeans high and tight.
Mom jeans.
You don't wear your jeans low and loose. That's bad. You keep them high and tight. So they kept doing it. And this guy's like, hey, thank you very much for liking my jeans. Eventually, after a couple times, he's like, all right, apparently we've got some jokesters out there. And we got some people from this, podcast from their mom's basement. They were just talking shit about him. Tom Segura goes, all right, guys, here's what I want you to do.
He fucking goes,
here's what I want you to do. He goes, I want you to flood them with love. Send them nothing but compliments. He goes, I don't want you to tear them down. He goes, send them nothing but love. And that's what they did. Like, people went, they're like, guys, we love your show. We love those jeans. You're looking good.
But they still got the digging with the jeans. I love it.
They basically backed off at that point in time because it was like, you don't mess with those fans. Those fans are ravenous. They've gone after Garth Brooks relentlessly.
So one of and Doug and I have talked about this, one of my and our personal goals on this podcast is to get an army such as that will just...
Is that a personal goal?
It's mine for sure. I would love a fan base that ravenous where it's just like something happens like that and they're like, great, we're gonna glom onto this thing, and they just fucking go nuts on it and they make it their own thing. You know what I love, that sense of community that we talked to when we had Mr. Tex on.
Yes,
it's that sense of it's because he's built this community in the Black Pants Legion that. It's unrivaled. Like, you've just got all these people who are like, yeah, let's do this thing together.
Well, that reminds me, on one of the most recent episode of Doug Watches Awkward Videos, I did one of the episodes with my Tom Segura Bikes shirt.
Yes,
which is basically, it's me calling out anyone who knows what that is. And a guy commented and said, nice jeans. I go,
there you go.
Finally! And like, he showed me, he goes, I'm a huge mommy. And he showed me a picture of he and his girlfriend with Tom Segura. I was like, motherfucker! Oh!
That's fucking awesome, dude.
So it's like one of those things where like you see each other, you just nod, you're like, what's up, mommy? What's up, jeans? And they're like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
And I also, what I love about them is their content is basically fan generated.
Yeah.
Like, fans will find these insane videos and be like, hey, Tom, you should check this out. And it's some of the nastiest stuff you'll ever find, but it fits their stuff. So, and that's a good moment to say shout out to Jared for, sending us fan art. It's been featured prominently in some of our videos on YouTube, so thank you. And if you guys want to submit us fan art, we would absolutely accept it.
Absolutely.
And showcase it and everything like that. So
there's a debate now of what the our minions should be called.
Oh my God.
Water Speech goes, you want minions? And then Jared goes, the Mind Gappers? And I said, I'm thinking Gappers. And then Jared goes, a little close to Gapers? Gapers?
Oh, you don't want gapers. Nope.
What is that?
You ever heard of a gaping butthole?
Cool. So then Reno goes, Gap tape? And I was like, I'm liking this. So you guys figure out what you want to call yourselves, and then you let us know. How about that? Yeah.
That's amazing.
As the founding members, essentially, who are watching right now. Yeah.
This is a tremendous responsibility that I don't know if we're ready for. I don't know if I'm ready for it. Because that's the thing I consider, too, is some of it's just like, before you know it, you've seen the repercussions of this where fans just go and they do stuff and you're like, guys, could you stop?
Right.
Please?
Well, the nice thing about Your Mom Says podcast is they have they have such loyalty from their fans that if they say, guys, please stop, like the fans will go, cool, we're done.
Or they'll be like, hey, we found this person. Be nice.
Right.
Be nice to
Okay,
him.
we'll be nice.
All right, we'll be nice. And they participate so well. They've created so much, I love that stuff so much.
So actually, Reno goes, I'll submit an intro for the stream or YouTube if you send me the logo. If you send the logo my way.
Oh, cool.
I work in motion graphics, yo. I'm bored as hell. So, dude, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So send us a DM on Twitter at MindGap Podcast, and we'll exchange information. We'll get you the logo. That's fucking awesome. I love that.
That'd be amazing.
That's really cool.
Hell yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to our friend and MindGap All Star sent us Sam Cook sent us a story today. It says report: Spider-Man will no longer be shared by Marvel and Sony. And I got furious when I read this.
I was sad because it's just in my mind, it's a poor move. It's greed at its finest, or its worst, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Because I think it says in there that Feige from Marvel offered a 50-50 split.
He offered a 50-50 creative split, creative and obviously profit sharing split. I would assume, but yeah.
Do you know what it is currently? Like what their current deal is?
I don't know. Well, it actually does say profits. One article says 50-50 profits. One said 50-50 creative. So basically, going into this halvesies.
Is that currently what they have?
I don't know if that's currently what they have, but that is what Feige.
Let's get the paperwork real quick.
Yeah, hold on. Yes.
Yes. That's correct. Because, I mean, in that sort of situation, Marvel bailed Sony's ass out with Spider-Man, big time. And I'll say this
Actually, no. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just, in this one here, it said, the issue, as we expect, is money. While Disney was happy to take only a small percentage of grosses on Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home in exchange for Sony allowing Marvel to use the character in Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, a debate among executives began to take place about the future. According to Deadline, Disney wanted to split the profits 50-50, but Sony didn't even counter. They just said, nope. We're taking our ball.
So
we're going
it sounds
the fuck
like
home.
Disney was getting a smaller piece of the pie.
Yes.
And Disney was
Absolutely.
like, I feel like we should get more considering our movie earned you.
Right. In exchange, considering our last, 4 or 5 movies grossed over $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know?
And good luck. And I guess Sony's probably going to try and ride out that goodwill, because those actors are still locked into it. It's not like they have to recast.
Right.
And
but here's the thing that you and I were talking about, and if you want to finish the thought prior to that, fact, great. So I was hoping you would say no. So no, but the thing is, prior to that, we were talking about the fact that so now Sony can't use any reference to Iron Man. They can't use Nick Fury. They can't hang out with he can't hang out with Happy anymore.
Nope.
That whole relationship with Aunt May and Happy gone.
Yeah.
They can't. Fucking name it. Like any of these
anything
things
that's
that they've
going
done
on in New York or anything like that.
Anything from the past, all that canon that they just set up. Now Sony can't use that. So
they can't use the Iron Suit anymore. I don't think the Iron Spider.
So what the fuck is? What's the end game with this? No pun intended.
Oh man, I don't know, dude. That is to me where they're like, we'll Feige it out. That's probably what they said, and that's upsetting to me because that means it's probably going to take one of the best writers to figure out how you're going to navigate that world. It's already a challenge to think about how eventually they're going to incorporate, X-Men, stuff like that. I mean, you can make that. That's definitely not the same thing.
No.
Because that's recasting and that's being like the mutants exist now.
Right. Well, the thing is, they weren't because they weren't allowed to use mutants, which is why they used the word miracles or enhanced or the twins or they just. But I don't think. I mean, Sony has such a bad track record, and I mean, obviously. When they released Venom, they grossed, what'd you say, like 800 million?
It was over 800 million, yeah.
But the reason they grossed that much, and even shitty X-Men movies grossed that much money was, and here, okay, so it goes into people will watch it versus fans hate it. Like even though fans and critics pan these movies, and they're undeniably bad, they're still making almost $1 billion. Like X-Men movies that make over 700 or 800 million.
Not Dark Phoenix, am I right?
What did that end up making? Do we know?
I don't know. It's buried under the prison as far as I know. It did not do well. I think everyone was like, this movie sucks.
Dark Phoenix grossed. Ooh, that is rough. Dark Phoenix grossed $252 million. Now, here's the thing. Again, we've talked about this before. How sad is it that $252 million we now look at and go,
well, is it because
that's a failure.
What's the budget?
It's NA. They won't release it.
Well, because take, for example, Ex Machina.
Yeah.
That movie costs $15 million to make, and if it grosses $252 million, that's a fucking success and a half, right? So it all depends on the budget.
The budget was estimated at $200 million.
So they definitely
lost
money.
with P&A, with Prince and Everton, there's no...
And there was a ton of that shit around, so they definitely paid. They easily lost money on that project. So, it's situations where their fans have carried Spider-Man.
Right.
Really carried Spider-Man.
Because Spider-Man is a beloved... I love Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
is one of the most grossing... Yeah.
I think it's probably the most popular Marvel character, hands down.
As far as comic book sales and things like that.
I think it's universally one of the most... Because it does well in all markets.
Right.
Everybody, especially in Asia. They love them some Spider-Man. So that's why Sony has held on so tight to those film rights, because it has been a gigantic... moneymaker for them. Makes people show up. And same thing with Venom. People are like, I'll go see a Venom movie because they want it to be good.
Right.
Like, even if it's critically panned, people are like, I'm going to fucking show up and see it.
Well, because they want, again, they're hoping against hope that it's going to be good. And also, they're like, I've never seen Venom on screen before, because we do not there's a lot of gnats in here and it's pissing me off. I've never seen Venom on screen before because no one will acknowledge Spider-Man 3. Mm-hmm. So they're like, I've never seen this before.
Into the Spider-Verse acknowledge that movie exists.
That's true. Fair. But no, like, again, they're just like, this is a Venom standalone. They got an awesome actor to play it. So they're like, well, maybe. And they go and see it.
It's funny because Feige said months ago that a Spider-Man and Venom movie was almost inevitable.
Right.
Because they both are so popular and they make so much money.
Holy shit. Like,
but
how cool would that have been?
I'd rather them figure how to get Venom in.
Right.
Than to take Spider-Man out.
Right.
That, to me, I think is much more difficult. And I understand there is literally hundreds of millions of dollars in value here that these companies want to make. But at the same time, I was like, just look, Marvel helped you out. And yeah, they want more money from a business standpoint. They're like, motherfuckers, what have we done for you?
Right. But again, like, you can continue. So Marvel's basically saying to you, okay, you can either take all of the money that you're making from your movies and hope that they continue to do well. Mm-hmm. You've had to reboot twice, FYI.
Yeah.
Or you can give us 50% of it, and we will guarantee you that every single time we put out a movie, you will get over $500 million.
Right.
Your call.
Exactly.
Right. Like, that's... Come on.
And you know what that is? That's a interesting business case, right? To look at that, because it's like, it's your typical economic situation. Do you take less money with a pretty solid track record of making that money, or do you take the risk?
An almost near guarantee.
Or do you take the risk of going, we can make more money if we go on our own, but their track record sucks? That means you don't have access to the same Marvel studios, crew that's generally there for almost every single movie.
Right.
The Marvel, again, Sony is a studio that makes a lot of movies. Marvel Studios is a studio that makes Marvel movies.
Exactly.
Nothing else.
This is one property, and if for a second anyone thinks that Spider-Man will get like the prom king treatment, it's not going to happen. Like, they have so many things in development right now, so many different properties, so many things, so many irons in the fire, that sure, right now for a little while it may get the prom king treatment, but it's not going to remain the crown jewel forever. If you put it back to Marvel will make sure that it is well taken care of.
Well, it's going to be, again, it's going to get, the cameos, it will get seen in a regular basis, because
Absolutely.
The potential for that sort of stuff, and that's what made Marvel so wonderful, was how these characters would just pop up from time to time. And it's like, oh, cool, because it creates that environment that all of these folks live together.
Right.
And
like, anyone could literally show up at any point in time, and it's fucking amazing.
It's something as great as Thor the Dark World, where fucking Loki turns into Captain America for a scene real quick, where he's just like, da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. Like, it's like, we live in this world. And I fucking love it.
Right.
Versus, you're not going to get that anymore. Spider-Man will be completely isolated from anything else. And now from a storytelling, you basically, what the fuck? I don't even know how you write yourself out of it. What a great challenge, right? What a great challenge.
Sure, we'll call it a great challenge.
If you're up for it, it's like, I'm sure there's a creative person out there that's like, I'm going to solve this puzzle. And the thing is, like, there's so much for Sony to lose.
Yeah.
And maybe they look at it as like, okay, maybe we do $500 million. I'm sure that's not what they're aiming for. But it's like, there's
But they could get $500 million if they stayed with Marvel.
And the thing is, like, it is all on them. Like,
Right.
They have to figure out how to make this work. And I just don't trust them to do it.
But and to your point, though, they also, again, have lost all of the stuff that made this iteration of Spider-Man interesting.
Right? Because
this iteration of Spider-Man is only interesting because of his relationship. Now, again, this has nothing to do with Tom Holland. And like his portrayal is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the story is interesting because he has been integrated into, he's got this father figure in Tony Stark that he is now taking them. He almost blew that. And now he's like, all right, now I'm ready to take this mantle. Tony gave this to me, and there's this huge weight on his shoulders, and he has these relations. He's been dusted, or blipped or whatever they called it.
Dusted and blipped.
And he's come back, and he's got this thing with Nick Fury now. He's got this relationship with him, and he's got this thing, and now I'm Avengers abroad. Like I'm tapped now because the world needs me, and I'm a friendly neighborhood. All of these things that they've integrated him into now are just they're dusted. That the story now has been blipped,
No, you're right.
And so, like, anything that made this interesting is now, again, they're essentially rebooting the franchise again. This will be another reboot.
And not only that, it's like,
you have to.
Oh man,
this is a reboot.
This is so tough, but with the same actors.
Right.
Unprecedented.
Figure that out. What does that even mean?
Because again, like, you see someone who was like aware of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Someone who is aware of all of these characters. It's the fact that, like, the next Thor movie is going to involve Guardians of the Galaxy to some degree, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like all
or
that
Guardians
stuff.
will involve Thor. Either way.
Yeah. It's like it is so interconnected, and then you just rip him out, and we're not even going to talk about it anymore.
So again, now does Marvel get to even in the next movie or in the next couple movies, do they even get to reference the fact that Spider-Man is bye-bye?
Well,
or do we have to just pretend like this character never existed?
Or let's take another question. You and me and all the other nerds out there follow this news. What about the person who shows up to the next Spider-Man movie? He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, where's Avengers? Yeah.
Where's all this? Where's that? Where's that? And there's absolutely no reference to it anymore.
Oh, God, that's so true. That's so true.
How do you explain that? Like, I joked. It's like, it's a difference. It's a multiverse.
Right.
Like,
this isn't Earth 616. This is Earth 2.
Earth 2.
Right.
I don't even know where you go with that, honestly.
Fuck, man.
And not only that, it's a problem that doesn't need to be solved. It's not something you have to be like, cool, let's make it harder for ourselves.
Right.
And the hubris to think that you're like, we can fucking do this. It's like, okay.
All right, I'm going to put this out there right now. Disney, you purchased Fox. We know Sony's been struggling.
Okay.
We know that Sony has had email leaks. We know that the leadership on Sony's not the best, right? They've made some questionable decisions.
They made the Dark Tower.
They made the Dark Tower.
They made it terrible.
They made the Dark... They didn't make Dark Phoenix. Never mind. I was going to go with the Dark Realm. But they made the Dark Tower, as I said. How much cash you got? How liquid are you?
How wouldn't that freak you out? You're the guy who's like, man, how can you like Disney, man? They're fucking buying up everything.
Right. It would freak me out. But at this point, I want Spider-Man back.
But you know what? Spider-Man needs to come home.
Also, I mean, I have an issue too because the whole thing came out now that the chairman of Marvel is one of Trump's biggest donors, and he has been tied with him for years and has donated to a whole bunch of really shady shit.
Yeah.
He was the CEO of Marvel, and now he's one of the top chairman. I'm not pleased with that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you know what? Still, fire him. Buy Sony.
Yeah.
End this.
Yeah, because really, what's
this.
I know there's some like off-brand stuff that still exists out there, but I think Spider-Man's like the Hulk still belongs to Universal, but for a
Does he really?
for a standalone film.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So they still own the rights, which that ain't happening anytime soon.
Right. Have fun with that, Universal.
Whoever was like, yeah, he could be a side character. They're like, fuck.
All right, we'll give you him as far as full movie goes, but we get him for side character. Sure.
Yeah, have fun.
All right, sign there. Okay, cool.
Well, it's just like those things are so weird where it's
we'll
like,
see you later, Universal. Bye.
like both Fox and Marvel could use Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. You know, like, because Quicksilver,
Yes.
it's like,
Yes, yeah.
What? How can you both? Who was like, all right, for these characters, you can both use them. It's like, why?
That's interesting because I don't know how did Disney, because Fox owned all the X-Men and
They
Quicksilver
did.
and Scarlet Witch are X-Men.
They
so how did
They're the children of Magneto.
Right. So how did prior to the Fox acquisition, how did Marvel get them into Age of Ultron?
That is bonkers because it's like you can do it as long as you don't say they're mutants.
Right. Did they even reference Quicksilver? Did they say his name?
I don't think so. Well, they also don't call Scarlet Witch Scarlet Witch.
The streaky fast one. Bring him in.
Because they call her Wanda.
Yeah.
So they don't really call her
They don't
Scarlet
call her
Witch.
Scarlet Witch well, no, but see, they called her Scarlet Witch in Civil War, and that was prior to
Did they?
I think they did.
I think they call her just Wanda Maximoff.
We're either going to need someone to weigh in on Twitch, or we're going to need to watch these again.
Or see how that's credited, because I mean, it may be credited as like this is Scarlet Witch, but I don't think anyone was like, "Here comes Scarlet Witch," you know.
What about the witch?
What about the witch?
Interesting.
But it's interesting how those rights things. It's always fascinating to me
Yeah.
where they're like, "This is yours in this context, but
Right.
this is this and ours." And
It's such a load
it's
of
like
shit.
Disney owns Marvel, but not the theme park rights until 2017. It's like then Disney can have it back. It's like,
Right.
wait, what?
Why?
How
What
the
is-
fuck?
All right, cool, bro.
It's so weird how they can just splice up these brands
Yeah.
in different ways and being like, this portion goes here. But
You
that
just-
being said, I think Spider-Man is the only really large, outstanding one.
Yes.
Because obviously everything with Fox rolled back into the Marvel universe, and Ghost Rider and Punisher, those ones lapsed and came back. Daredevil
did
came
they?
back.
Okay, yeah.
That's why Marvel was able to do those.
Yeah.
So those rights came back because Fox is like, nah, we don't want to do it.
Do you think they're bringing him to Hulu?
I doubt it.
Don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't know what they're going to do. It's a shame. I think of those, Daredevil's by far my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real shame not to keep going with those. But I don't know. It would be nice if they could, but I think Daredevil was a shock to everybody, honestly. That
it got pulled?
That got pulled. I
Yeah.
think even to everyone in that crew was like, huh? What?
Well, the thing is, I mean, it makes sense in the context of Disney fully acquiring Hulu, like Disney, because Disney went on a fucking rampage. Like they own. Then it was Disney. What is it? Disney, Fox, Comcast, and AT&T, Time Warner, I think. And then Disney bought out AT&T's 30%. Disney bought Fox, therefore getting their 5 or 10%. And so they had like a 60% stake, it was a 60% stake in the company. And then Comcast, NBC Universal still had a 30% stake. And Comcast said, we're not selling. And then cut to 2 months later, all right, we're selling. And Disney was like, we got it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
So Disney, now fully owns, is fully vested in Hulu. And I think Hulu is where they're going to put their non-family friendly shows. So
it'd be smart.
I could see them coming back.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what the deal looks like with Netflix now.
Yeah.
Because Netflix was the partner in those shows, and therefore they may have a 5 to 10 year window where they're not allowed to use those characters again on the streaming
I
platform.
really wanted to see what happened with those and like Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because they did such a good job of talking about New York after, the Battle of New York and
Right.
how that affected and how that actually created the area for Fisk to exist in the Daredevil universe and everything like that. And they really fleshed out all those things that could happen. But I would have loved to see how they would have handled who survived the Infinity, the snap and stuff like that, and who did and what that meant for them after the fact.
To get oh my god!
What about that? You do a season during the 5 years,
Yes.
where some of them survived and other ones didn't. I mean, imagine Daredevil and is already like sad sad. He survives for those 5 years, but like half the world's gone. You know,
fuck, man.
Foggy's gone, or
right?
Or what, you know, it's like, how does he? And I don't know.
Jessica Jones is gone, and what's her nuts is the Trish.
Yeah,
she's had, maybe she takes up the with that new serum. She takes up the mantle of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Then Jones comes back, and now Trish has to step down, and then they have.
And again,
like there's so many ways you could have gone with that.
The thing is, like that stuff always played in the background, but it had a significant impact on that universe. You know, it drove situations where some people were like, my family died in that fight, and you're just like them,
right?
You know, because you're enhanced or you're different, and
you
didn't save them, so it's you. So there's like that whole thing that it's not in your face, but it's there. You know, seeing the people that reported on the day that, the Battle of New York and stuff like that really enhanced that world, and I would have loved to have seen that, because honestly, you take a look at everything moving forward, people have to somehow react to that, right? The only thing we've really seen post Infinity War and Endgame was Far From Home with Spider-Man. That was really the first thing that dealt with, all right, this happened. In fact, Spider-Man's the reason why you hear about the blip, and you get to see what happened when everyone came back.
Right,
and they came back to the exact same spots, where they were. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like, every movie doesn't have to be like, well, I remember when, but the impact of that is significant in that universe.
Effect,
Captain America's not around anymore.
Right.
Iron Man's gone. Like,
there's been some shakeups.
Some shit has happened. Hulk is actually, both Banner and Hulk now. Like, there's a lot of things that have happened. And I'm so curious to see how that stuff gets flushed out.
Jared, you said the Defenders would be pretty good in the in-game group scene, except for Daredevil. Are you saying that you don't like Daredevil? Now, tread lightly with your answer to this.
Yeah, I mean, I won't hate you forever, but...
I'll hate you for a week.
But...
Yeah. And not the week that you're here. I'll love you for that week. But real quick, Jared also says... I liked the Nick... he asked, are they doing a new Ghost Rider? I liked the Nick Cage one, because it made the most of his Nick Caginess. It's actually really true.
Dude.
I can't... He was a good Ghost Rider.
You know what's funny?
The movie was bad. He wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Going back to Corridor Video,
I
watched the one you sent the Stuntmen.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I watched the most recent one with visual effects, watching visual effects, and they showed Spawn.
Oh, did they?
Oh my god, that movie is worse. It looks way worse than I remember.
Doesn't hold up, does it?
No. It's so funny because two of the guys go, we made a movie back when we were in high school, and they're like, and they showed their movie.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the same as Spawn back when we did it. And they're like, our movie's bad, but we were able to create the same level of graphics and visual effects.
As a multi-million-dollar movie.
And you watch it and you're like, oh my God.
I really hope they take another crack at that.
Well, Todd McFarlane's working on it.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's supposed to be like a straight-up horror film, and I can't wait to hear more about it.
I'm very excited to see Mahershala Ali take a turn as Blade.
Oh, dude, the hate that came from people. It's like, the only Blade is Wesley Snipes. I'm like,
wait a second. I didn't even realize there was.
See that?
No, there was backlash?
Oh, I wouldn't say it was huge, but there was people posting. They're like,
fuck
not
that.
my Blade, or whatever it was. And I was like, dude,
Great, then don't go see it.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Those people better not fucking show up at the theater. They better not go see it. Like, if it's not my Blade.
The only Blade for me is Wesley Snipes. I'm like, he was there, but
he was cast the first time Blade was put on screen. Correct.
I cannot wait.
And he did a good job. Absolutely.
I cannot wait to see a reimagining of Blade. Blade is exactly just like Spawn. It needs a reimagining.
It needs a reimagining. Those movies were, I will say, those movies were good for the time they came out.
Yes.
And it was awesome to see that character on screen. That being said, with what they can do now and where storytelling has come and where writing has come and the imagination, it's a whole different ball game, and I'm very excited to see. Oh,
not to mention you get an actor of that caliber to hop in the role. I was like, fuck yes, please do. And that's a Marvel property, right?
Yes.
Marvel. Oh yes.
Also, sorry, Jared just says he was clarifying. He says, "No, I love Daredevil. There's just no way Daredevil would have been useful in that fight."
What in Endgame?
In the Endgame end scene?
Oh no. What are you talking about? He could have been useful. Yeah. If fucking Wasp can show up and fight people,
truth,
then Daredevil could. Luke Cage would have been super useful.
Right, yeah, right? Real quick, Water Speech goes, could you imagine the lawyers drawing up the agreements? of like, you get this character, I get this character. He goes, it must feel like they're trading billion-dollar playing cards on the playground.
Dude, and not only that, can you imagine the heated negotiations that happen when you realize they're arguing over fictional characters?
Right, but they're this is, again...
Daredevil belongs to Netflix in perpetuity in all universes. Yeah, but we funded it. It's so we own a portion of that. Right. Well, you can't use Daredevil and Ghost Rider. It's like, wait, what?
I think too, but like as you're a kid on the playground, could you ever imagine growing up and your job is to trade characters?
Oh, dude.
In a legitimate way?
Can you imagine the money these fuckers get paid for it too?
Jesus Christ.
They're like, dude, you gotta call Rob in here. Rob is the premier Hulk negotiator, okay? He knows his Hulk contracts inside and out. He was there from the beginning. You know, you want him as a side character, he's got you covered. But you want to go beyond that, you got to call Rob.
You got to call Rob.
Rob will get you covered, man.
He's a fucking cutthroat.
Yeah. Now, Denise, you want some mutant action? You call Denise.
If you want someone to take Rob down, call Denise.
You want to talk about mutants? You fucking call Denise.
Right.
She will show up and she'll be like, all right, let's talk business here.
She's got mutants tattooed across her shoulder blades.
She's like, we called them enhanced. We called them, miracles. Let's call them fucking mutants now because we own them, okay?
Denise doesn't give a shit. She'll say mutants in front of Fox.
She does it to piss him off.
She doesn't give a shit.
She'd be like, I'm sorry, are they mutants? You can't say that. Well, I already did.
And she just looks at him and goes, come at me, bro.
No, that I cannot imagine what that would be
fucking
like.
Amazing.
These guys just haggling over these fucking superheroes.
But you want to talk about how much you and I both hate negotiations? Mm-hmm. Like how like just fucking mean and like contentious those have to get.
Well, I don't know if it's mean, but it's definitely like brutal.
Yeah, you have to be a fucking shark.
Well, imagine Feige walking in and those guys going to Sony and be like, "Hey guys, I think we need to up this to a 50-50 split." It's like that scene in Scarface. No. It's like that scene in Scarface where like it's like the beginning of the third act and Tony's sitting in his mansion. The banker goes, "All right, man. Hey, I gotta tell you, so." You're bringing in too much money, and we got to bump up the interest rate. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because that's how he talks.
That's a perfect Scarface. Yeah. You know what? Given Al Pacino's accent in that movie, that actually was a perfect Scarface.
He's very Cuban right there.
You sounded about as Cuban as he did.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bump up the points on this and pump. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, hey, I got shareholders, man. It's what I got to do. And Feige's basically like, this is making too much money. We can't just go with whatever it is. And because we're doing the majority of this and you're riding on our coattails, we deserve a larger split of that. And it's Sony be like, fuck you.
We got it.
They're like, no.
Yeah.
That's
fucking. I'm really hoping that they get to that they get to production, they get to pre-production, they're going through it and they go, fuck, we made a mistake, and they go back to. I don't think it'll happen because I think that they're all too fucking full of themselves. But I really hope that they get to the point where they realize, and then I hope Feige rakes them over the coals and goes 80-20.
No, what I hope is Feige goes, no, you guys go ahead. You guys go ahead.
We're good.
And won't you give me a call after the movie? We'll talk after you guys.
We'll talk about you signing the character back over to us.
We'll talk about it after the movie.
Yeah.
And people will still show up,
I wonder if Tom Holland would ever, and this isn't because I wouldn't fault him either way, but I wonder if he would ever
punch a seal.
It was exactly what I was hoping. I need to know these things.
I was like, what would be something?
Punch a seal.
Tom, I gotta know. Would you ever punch a seal?
If
under what circumstance?
Lucky. Who was that? Michael Jackson?
Under what circumstance? I guess it was.
I don't even know what that was.
This was a Mark Wahlberg a little bit.
If we ever
say hi to your mother for me,
him on the show, that is the first question you need to ask him.
All right, Tom, let's get things straight. I gotta know.
Episode 210. Would you ever punch a seal?
Would you punch a fucking seal? And if so, under what circumstances?
Under what circumstances? What would the seal have had to done to you or your family?
Or your family.
Say hi to your mother for me, Tom.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Say hi to Aunt May for me. No, do you think Tom Holland would ever, basically kind of how the Guardians did, would he ever take a stand with Marvel and say,
no,
I will not be in this?
No,
I don't. And just fuck Sony?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure the contract that he has is probably it would cost him so much that I don't think it would be something that he would do.
If he wanted to get out of it, though. If he wanted to get out of it.
That would fuck him so hard. If Tom Holland was like, see ya! And they're like, fuck, we gotta do it again!
Fuck
They
Sony's
just
over.
post something on Facebook. Who wants to be Spider-Man?
At this point, we don't. Spider-Man's retired.
Come on. I thought you were going to say something else.
You fucking homeowner. Spider-Man wearing a unitard. So, we do have our own inside jokes.
We do.
I just now realized it.
Yeah, we have a couple.
Yeah. I was going to pull up Gilbert, but my voice is not there. If Tom did want to get out of that contract, though, there is one way outside of lawyers that he could do it.
Oh, pray tell.
Yeah. So it's
sire.
It's you've got to dig deep into the law books to find this, but it's a loophole that not a lot of people know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rob and Denise know about it.
Rob and Denise were actually integral in the first time this was used, and it is based off of their last names, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're related?
No. Okay. So it's Rob Throsum and Denise Downgren. And so this loophole was actually based off of the two of them who came up with this. Do you know what the loophole's called, Doug?
Throwdown! Throwdown! Oh, my God. Down some... Downton.
Downton, yeah. So today's Throwdown, I fittingly, and I initially I didn't know what we were going to do. It wasn't until about 10 minutes ago that I remembered we had to do a Throwdown, and I was like, uh-oh. But then immediately I was like, well, there's no contest about who's in this
Holland
throw.
versus the seal.
Right. Go.
How big's the seal? Where are they fighting?
If you have to ask.
They in space?
Naturally, yeah. It's a space seal. So it's going to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man versus Tobey Macguire's Spider-Man versus Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. It's a three-way throwdown, Spider style.
Well, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man doesn't have to worry about running out of webbing because
accurate.
He just shoots it out of his wrists.
Because his body makes it. His body makes the webbing. It's bionic webbing from his wrist.
I feel like I know. I agree. I mean, they would all have the same powers. I guess this is like an Into the Spider-Verse sort of thing. Like who would win? Well, Tobey Maguire is obviously older, even though he plays a younger person.
Jared just says Tom Holland Spider-Man has insta-kill.
Fuck. If he has the iron suits, the iron spider suits.
He's got Avada Kedavra in it.
He also knows magic.
He also knows magic because he's British.
Oh, yeah. He's got a heads-up display. He has so much more at his disposal.
I honestly got to give it to Holland. Like, I was going to say, Maguire's out just because he's old as shit now compared to the other two, and he's not going to move as quick.
Well, you got to take him in their prime.
Okay, he was old as shit when he played the character.
Yeah, I mean, because that's
Tom
the thing
Holland's also the only one of them that actually had gymnastics chops.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Tobey Maguire's was as focused on the smarts either, like the intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew Garfield's definitely was. It showcased that. And then Tom Holland's is heavily implied, where he says things like, you see him in school, he understands stuff. He tells Cap, he's like, man, that shield doesn't obey the laws of physics.
Right. He understands advanced particle physics based off of like the time. Like he's very like he will keep up with everyone who's talking like. Stark and Strange and all these fucking heavy hitter geniuses. He's keeping up with them.
He shows him making his formula for his webbing and stuff like that, so he gets it. And on top of that, he has a suit that was designed by fucking Tony Stark.
Right. He's got multiple suits.
Huge advantage.
Yep.
So again, physicality wise, I think they're all pretty equal. They're pretty well matched as far as like what they can do. I mean, we've seen Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man stop a train from falling, but we've also seen Tom Holland's Spider-Man try to keep a boat together after getting split apart. And honestly, I feel terrible, but Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is so forgettable to me. I love Andrew Garfield in that role. I know a lot of people don't, but his movies were so fucking forgettable.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't remember much about them. I remember seeing them each one time.
Yeah.
And they were just okay.
I honestly have to say it's based off of the intelligence, the suit, and the fact that the actor playing him actually can do flips and shit. I really think that Tom Holland Spider-Man has it.
Yeah, because he can do. He has so much. He has a huge advantage.
Huge advantage.
So I'm going to give it to Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Tom Holland Spider-Man for the win! Now we have another new person who I've not seen here before. Nunez, Nunez 8708, or 8708. I don't know how it's pronounced. Tobey Macguire Spider-Man 1 over Tom Holland. Tom Holland over Tobey Spider-Man 2 and 3. So he's saying in Spider-Man 1. Tobey Macguire would take it, but if it's Spider-Man 2 and 3, Tom Holland takes it.
Interesting, because I feel like we see more.
I would love to know more, too. If you're still in the chat, I would love to know why.
Because I feel like you see more out of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 as far as like physical prowess, what he's doing, what he's fighting.
With Doc Ock, yeah.
With Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Again, that's where he stops the train and everything like that.
Yep.
Also, like he's holding up some sort of fucking globe or something. It's like some building at the end. That's when Mary Jane sees him without his mask on. Like as far as like pure physical strength, we see that like heavily showcased. I'd say in Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 is it doesn't exist.
He fights Venom and the Sandman.
He also fights himself with dance. He
also fights society pushing him down.
I think it's funny because everyone's just like Andrew Garfield. They're like, I don't even remember him.
Oh, that's right. He did Spider-Man.
That's right. Oh, shit. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I did not mind him in those roles.
I liked Andrew Garfield.
I liked him in the movies themselves. I liked him in
general.
The movies themselves, but him in that role, I totally liked it.
Yeah.
It was, I personally, Tobey Macguire in Spider-Man 1 was the first time we saw that character on the screen. That for me was special. I was like, that's awesome. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I think... I don't want to say they're better movies, but I definitely liked Andrew Garfield's portrayal better. Tom Holland, I think, is flawless. I love his portrayal of Spider-Man.
I agree. I think that's fair.
All right, we've established that.
Yeah.
Tom Holland is the blonde Peter Parker in Spider-Verse. Maguire is Peter B. Parker, and Garfield is Spider-Ham? Question mark? Yes, Jared. We're gonna, that's going to be our button. We're ending on that.
That's a great application to Into the Spider-Verse. So well done. Wow, that was fun. And Twitch, thank you all.
Twitch lit it up tonight.
Thanks to the new folks who came on by.
An insane
very fun, very
chat
active.
Here. Thank you.
And so as we start wrapping things up, as always, Justin, is there anything out there you'd like to promote? Anything that you think people should be watching, doing, playing, whatever?
Good Omens on Netflix.
I gotta finish that.
Which was, again, I think I said this previously, but episode 1, it took me the episode to figure out what I was watching. And then once I figured out I'm like, okay, this is the style, this is the rules of the universe. I was fully in, and it was a great show. Good Boys. We watched the Red Band trailer last night.
Nice.
The Boys. Thank you. I am, I think, episode 5 or 6 right now. Fucking awesome. I cannot wait to finish it. And then I don't remember if I said this, but Green Book.
Yes, you did.
I did? Okay. Well, I'm going to say it again.
That's the second time you've been like, I don't know if I've said this, but the Green Book.
So wait, did I do it 3 times?
This will be the 3rd time.
Green Book. That's it.
Okay. I would also recommend...
I'm reading a book right now.
Hey! Attaboy, you fucking dummy.
Yep. It is Caddyshack, The Making of a Hollywood Cinderella Story.
Very cool.
It is such a cool book. If you are into cinema at all, or if you're into Caddyshack and that kind of like Animal House, National Lampoon, SNL type humor, this book is phenomenal. It takes it back all the way to the beginning where the two guys who really founded National Lampoon, the magazine, it starts with them in Harvard at the National Lampoon, follows them into National Lampoon going to a national publication. It follows them then into doing a live stage show and a radio show for National Lampoon. Some of those people getting poached to SNL, the start of SNL. Then it talks about Animal House getting written and how that was an answer to the SNL crew. And then it talks about Caddyshack getting made. And it was a shit show of a production. Terrible and amazing to read. How that movie got made is beyond me.
That's
So
crazy.
it is a really cool book. Highly recommend Caddyshack, The Making of a Hollywood Cinderella Story.
That's awesome.
What do you got?
I'd also recommend The Boys. I just finished watching it for the second time. I finally got my wife to watch it, and she absolutely loved it. I also finished reading the comics for the third time, and I watched the series, reread the comics, and then rewatched the show, and I had such a greater appreciation for it because there's a bunch of inside jokes or nods to different things, which I'm like, I missed that because I wasn't fresh up on it. I can't recommend it enough. It's such a great show, and I also read it was the most viewed show so far on Amazon Prime.
Damn, okay.
And they've already started making season 2.
Beautiful.
They've already had some cool set shots of people covered in blood. So they're very excited.
Keeping it going.
For that. And I'd also recommend the comic Mouse, which I was talking about earlier. It's fantastic. There's 2 volumes to it. Again, it's about a son basically cataloging or writing down and telling the story of his father who survived the Holocaust, and it's really interestingly, it's told in a very interesting way, and it's really cool. I highly recommend it. Check that out. Yeah.
Christian Nunez? Mm-hmm. Nunez?
No shit, Christian.
So that's...
What the fuck, dude?
How
What's
do you pronounce
up?
his last name?
Nunez.
Nunez, there you go.
Nunez. No, I don't know.
Cool. Christian!
Nice. What's up, dude?
Yeah, that's Nunez 8708.
Cool.
Or 8708.
Nice.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
87
something. So now I'm off track. Here we go. Got it. Again, thank you to all the Twitch folks. If you are a listener and you'd like to check us out while we record our episodes, join us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. We generally we stream, we send out notifications. Generally it's every Tuesday, but it can change depending on our guests and everything like that. But join us, hop on the Twitch, stream us, and chat with us. You can also find us on all the social medias at MindGap Podcast. And also, I had something else. Oh, check out our YouTube channel as well. We've got lots of great videos, fun videos. Doug watches awkward videos. Justin plays video games. And we are also putting up our Twitch streams along with the audio on YouTube as well, so you can watch it there. We're also putting our backlog of stuff on there as well. So be sure to check that out, which is always fun. And Justin exists in the digital realm also when he's typing.
That's true. On Instagram and Twitter. Again, this chat has been insane today. I love it. On Instagram and Twitter, at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. While you're in the online realm, check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on
Spotify.
I always try not to step on yours.
Yeah.
Because when we post it, we switch those two. And so in my brain, I'm like, wait, no, Stitcher first now. And then on Google Podcasts, wherever podcasts are sold, you can subscribe to us, like us, share us, review us, rate us, all the things that we love when you do. And then check us out on 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then just keep an eye on 2east8th's stuff, on our social stuff, because we are now in post-production for Sid Penrose. So we've got... we're getting the footage to the editor. We're talking to our film composer, and we are... looking at next steps in that. So it's moving along. So we've got that coming out, and then Drew and I are working on a couple more scripts, and hopefully we'll be doing some sketches pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully the Muffin Man will see the light of day.
I want the Muffin Man to see the light of day so goddamn bad you don't even understand. Drew and I still need to film the intro to it.
It'll be a fun one when it comes out.
Yes.
Thank you, Justin, so much.
Douglas, thank you beyond words.
Twitch, thank you for joining us for this episode, and we'll see you next week on Mind Gap Podcast.